Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Real Tank Commander Plays Gunner Heat PC, and today we're going over tank gun accuracy as it applies to the, say, early 80s to the early 90s. So, in the interview that I did with IRONHORSE 7, he's a Desert Storm tank commander. He was the lead element of the entire 3rd Armored Division, like he was the lead tank. So got pretty lucky on nailing that one. Be able to interview that gentleman. Anyway, so he told me the first round, his wing tank identified enemy tanks out there at like 3,600 meters. His wing tank had a first round downrange at approximately 3,400 meters. His gunner identified at about 3,400, which means first round downrange approximately 3,300 meters. Somewhere around there. Keep in mind the tank was moving about 35 mile an hour, and they hit that enemy T-72. First round hit, first round kill, turret popped off. Anyway, so I'm going to demonstrate that to you here. I'm also going to go into why tank games generally are more accurate than your actual counterparts as well. Anyway, so as we can see, just as like in Desert Storm, he described as there's a little blip out there. So we got a little blip out there at, let's see, 3,200. Make a nice even round numbers. And I'm going to be using mils because since the 70s or so, pretty much everyone has used meters and mils inside of their fire control systems and all their tanks. So we're all playing on the same, we're all on the same sheet of music, to put it simply. Anyway, so the likelihood of the accuracy at that distance. A T-72 is approximately 3.5 meters wide. And that center circle for the M1, that is a 1 mil diameter circle. Just like this on the thermals is a 1 mil box. They're the exact same reticle, only difference is one is a circle, one is a box. That's it. So as we can see, an itty bitty little T-72 all the way out there is slightly less than a mil. Which means, since IRONHORSE's M1A1 tank was moving, he hit a target at 3,200 meters with the first round, first kill. So the likelihood of the fire control system being over a mil in error is not possible. And let's see, all fire. I'll just go after, so aim what I think is center mass because it's thermals and it's a long distance away. And alright, so we'll do 3, 1. A hit. Another hit. Okay. We'll go into the 3 rounds in the after action report. Because I am going to go in black hot and white hot on thermals. Anyway, as we can see, okay, so that's less than a mil at that distance. And the reason why that's so significant is when we go back to the M60A3 TTS, or even the M60A1, the difference in accuracy improved from those two tanks to the M1 is a huge jump in performance. Number one, because of stabilization. On the M60A1 AOS and up, so all the M60 series after the add-on stabilization package, the gun was stabilized because they had not figured out yet at that time which way was the proper way to go for stabilizing either the tank gun or the sights. They just decided to go with the gun and see what happened. Well, didn't work out so well because your max effective range on the move with An M60 is about 1,500 meters or so, versus the M1. The tank doesn't care whether you're doing 35 miles an hour or whether you're sitting still. The system updates so quickly that it does not care what you go over. As long as the reticle is on target, that round is going right where that reticle is. And I can demonstrate that for you. So everything to hit a target, as American tankers know, involves a ballistic solution. Every time you laze, your lead's wrong or your lead's right, you built either the right or the wrong ballistic solution in order to hit that target. So we have a tank target out here at, 2,000. As you can see, I'm tracking it, but I'm not tracking it all that well. I'll reset it. So the American way, they teach us center mass, always center mass. But as you can see, my track was not good, which means I made an incorrect ballistic solution for the round to hit the target. And the negative thing about the M1, M1IP, M1A1 series of fire control systems is that you have to induce lead yourself, and if you get the lead wrong, you got to restart. And to understand how quickly the M1's fire control system is constantly updating, because on the M1, the mirrors inside of your GPS, which is that little weird, those two little boxes right there, those black boxes, that is your gunner's primary sight. The mirrors inside there are constantly telling, and this is when you're in normal mode, are constantly telling the gun where to be at all times. Like there is no hang up. So for example, I'll laze right here, so we got a 300 meter laze. Now watch the gun as I laze. It jumps. That is how fast the fire control system updates. They don't have, in the game, compared to the real thing, they don't have the vertical stabilization set up on the M1 correctly yet. They're getting there. I've had a few conversations with them about it, and they're finally starting to come around. Now, there's also firing inhibits inside of the M1's fire control system. So if the mirrors are telling the gun, hey, I need you to be here, wherever here is supposed to be, and it's not, and there's an allowable window for that gun to be. It's a very small window, but there's still a window for it. Let's call it, just for discussion's sake, a mil. Even though we can obviously see the tank is significantly more accurate than a mil, but we'll just call it a mil for argument's sake, because it makes it very nice and simple. So the mirrors are telling the gun, I need you here. And let's say it's sitting outside of that mil because you're traversing too much, or you're generally it's off a traverse. That's the only place I've ever seen it on, but that's on Sep2s. I was never on an M1, so I can't really speak for an M1. I can speak for Sep2s, but generally the only time I've ever seen the ready to fire box disappear, and that's your firing inhibit, is when your ready to fire box disappears. So if you're outside that 1 mil window, the ready to fire box will disappear, and it will not allow you to fire the main gun using the Cadillacs. Now, if you switch over to the Master Blaster overrides any and all safeties and does not care. It is a mechanical direct to the firing pin on the main gun, and it will fire that round. It does not care. But using the Cadillacs, there's safeties and there's firing inhibits built in on purpose. Don't always work because it's a tank and everything breaks. But anyway. All right. So as long as it's within that 1 mil window, the gun is, tank will fire, it'll smack that target. And how quickly it is on updating. There it updated. Updated again, or a track over here. There's another update. It is, the M1 is almost instantaneous. And what a lot of people don't realize is almost all modern fire control systems are this way. And also, when people speak about accuracy, most people have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to tanks. And I dislike to say that, but everyone bases their accuracy of main gun from tanks on games. Not the right answer. Because in the game you have the perfect bore sight, you have the perfect ammo temperature, it does not take into account variables that actually exist on real tanks. You have air temperature, barometric pressure, ammo temperature, wear of the gun tube, depending upon what kind of gun it is. Some of them have that taken into account on some tanks. And also, some tanks have looser tolerances than others when it comes to the accuracy inside of their fire control system. The M1 is very tight, so that way they can engage targets out to 3,500 meters while the tank is moving and smack targets all day long. Okay, now on to the thermals. So in the real tank, you have black hot and white hot. Right now we're on white hot. And the reason why you might want to switch over to black hot sometimes, or switch back to white hot, it's really a personal preference. And sometimes it's situation dependent. An example of that is we were out at NTC. I was using my CITV looking at a fellow M1 wing tank. It's a couple hundred meters away. And busy dicking around, not really doing anything because the enemy wasn't attacking. And well, I could see the road wheels-ish. Like the entire bottom of the tank was just a blur from the heat in white hot. I swapped over to black hot, and I could see the lug nuts on the road wheels. So that's just the difference. Well, so sometimes going from white hot to black hot makes targets pop really easy. And there's been a few times out of gunnery to where I was in white hot shooting at night or during the day, and I'd flick over to black hot and I'd find the target immediately. Then sometimes I might have left it in black hot and I can't see anything. Flick it back over to white hot, oh, there's all my targets. So sometimes it's just situation dependent, and it does not hurt to sit there and swap between the two just to see if you can spot targets a little bit better. That's really all it's there for, is to be able to spot targets. And sometimes black hot things show up easier, sometimes white hot things show up easier. That's really it. It's mostly a personal preference. Okay, now on to the main gun rounds expended. So as you know, I did not move the reticle. Oh, this is just having some fun while I was driving out there. Okay. So I did not move the reticle at all, did not change my lays, did not change anything. All I did was fire 3 rounds. And I can guarantee this game is significantly more accurate than the real tank. Because it's a game. So that right there. Okay, so the difference between these 3 hits is probably less than a third of probably less than a tenth of a mil, because we're sitting out at the 3,200 meters. That's significantly more accurate than the actual M1. Now, is there a way for them to change that in the game? Most likely. But will they do it? Probably not. Because it makes the game less fun. We want to sit there and kill tanks or kill targets. Excuse me. In a game because it's fun. But I can tell you that is significantly more accurate than the actual tank. Because I do know all the accuracies inside the fire control system and all the stuff that goes along with it. No, I'm not going to release any of that stuff. But as we can see here, I'm just telling you from first-hand experience, this is significantly more accurate than the real thing. This is either a tenth or 2/10 of a mil, which at 3,200, which would be actually this is less than a tenth. I'll call it a tenth of a mil would be approximately 30 centimeters. Yeah, that's quite significant. Yeah, that's more accurate than a real thing. I hate to sit there and say the M1 isn't that good. I know that probably sounds weird. And, people want to call me the M1 shill. Hey, I was on it. Can't blame me for that. But, yeah. Less of a tenth of a mil in a game. Real tank's not that accurate. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the stuff for the algorithm gods. So that way, I can bring an M60A3 TTS back to life and shoot a gunnery up against SEP V2s and SEP V3s. Of course, record the whole thing. No, we can't inside of the tank. I don't know about the tower if they'll let us do that, but I know inside of the tank they will, because it's a, state-of-the-art 1978? Woo. All right, thanks for watching.